So Eddie, I know you like heel hooks, and I've noticed that a lot of times you take advantage of the opponent's reactions. Their natural reactions to escape from the heel hook actually puts them in a worse position. Can you show me an example of that?
Absolutely. So let's start from a standard ashigarami position. In this position, my foot will be on the hip. This foot will be right under the hamstring. It's important to note that this foot can be vulnerable to certain counter leg locks where he can reach in and attack my heel. So I have to be mindful of that. So I'll keep my foot here, but if I feel him reaching and he gets a good bite, I need to attack this near hand immediately. All right, the far hand is fine. The near hand is the one that's gonna really, when they both reinforce each other, where I can get in trouble. So I can attack the near hand and then hide it and regard. So it's a little more aggressive a foot position as opposed to this side. So I'll leave this here. I get a bite on the heel. My wrist bone right under the heel, toes in the armpit. I'm gonna face downward here. Now, I attempt to apply pressure drawing his toes back to his butt in this manner. And this usually prevents the roll as opposed to ripping across the chest.
Yeah, a lot of guys would put this shoulder down on the mat and roll this way. You're actually pushing me this way.
But you see how I aid the escape, right?
You're putting me in the momentum that I need.
I'm helping you go that way. But let's say that my opponent's just this huge, massive guy, and even though I'm applying pressure correctly, he manages to clear my foot and start rolling anyway. Instead of trying to follow this direction, I'm gonna throw this foot outside and cross my legs outside on his hip. From here, I'm gonna wrist my wrist bone, heel to the butt, as I apply pressure for the break. I don't rip across the chest, I apply the heel back into the butt to get the break.
And from that position, I can't reach your hands to try to defend at all.
Precisely, so it's almost a cleaner finish here. From here, as you try to continue the roll, you find that the pressure actually gets really, really tight here and it almost becomes like a belly down heel hook.
Not only can I not reach your wrist in this position, I can't reach your feet either, which is a huge key in applying leg locks.
Precisely. Right? Now you can't clear your knee line to escape. So I actually, by having you roll, I actually increase my odds of finishing.
Wow. Let me see that one last time.
Yeah. So standard ashigarami, controlling with a foot on the hip, other foot on the hamstring. My wrist bone's low on the heel. From here, I apply pressure, drawing his toes back into his butt. Assuming he's able to actually turn here, clear my foot, start turning, I throw this foot outside. From here, I apply the same type of motion, drawing the toes into the butt for the finish. And again, if he rolls through here, right here is where you almost get like a belly down heel hook.
Drop your hips right there.
Yeah, right here. That gets very, very brutal. A lot of the worst breaks I've gotten in heel hooks happen right there. So you see how sometimes rolling out is sort of a naive counter that rarely works against a good heel hooker.
So what should you do if you're in a heel hook?
Typically clearing the knee line is the order of the day. So if you do clear the knee line, rolling is correct. However, clearing the knee line can be challenging. Typically against opponents my own size, clearing the knee line can be challenging, white posting on the hand and stuff. Guys who are a little bigger have more success there against me with that. Typically what I do is I have a rule for my students when they're in a heel hook, for instance. So if you put me in a heel hook, my rule is attempt to spin first, looking to clear the knee. So if I can spin to clear the knee, right, I'll do that. Second is get to the hands. So I can't quite spin, I need to get to the hands. Right? If I don't have hands, I don't have spin, so I feel stuck and I can't get to your hands for some reason. So I go to roll, you still have my knee line, can't get your hands, I tap. And that tends to be the sequence I recommend for my students at least, and people just starting to experiment with them. Respecting the position is paramount, as we talked about earlier. Treat it, essentially the rolling escape is the equivalent of bridging out of an armbar. So if you put me in an armbar, for example, and I bridge this way, yanking my arm really hard, right? Well, there's force on your hand here. If you're loose with your grip, my hand will pop out.
Right.
However, if you have any kind of strength here, you apply pressure. As I bridge, I'm breaking my own arm. And it tends to be the same thing with the roll, as you felt that pressure for a correct heel hook. Right. So it's a similar idea. Against someone who has a very weak armbar, that escape will work great, and I'll feel like a champ. Armbars don't work. The second someone puts an armbar on when they mean business, you're actually breaking your own arm by doing that escape. So,
very nice techniques. Eddie Cummings will see you at EBI 3. You can watch that live on budovideos.com on March 22nd. And where else can people find you if they want to know more about you?
I'm on Instagram as Eddie_Wolverine, and I'm on Facebook as Eddie Wolverine Cummings. So look me up there.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Eddie.
Thank you so much for having me.
So what do you tell your students when they get to the brown belt level? What do they need to know about leg locks?
Well, Like, let me tell you my history about leg locks, you know, because at Hanzo School, we did them all the time. There was no rules about leg locks. My very first class, I learned a knee bar off the guy gets out of cross side, so elbow escape to you drop back into a knee bar, and then a heel hook, cross heel hook.